I'm Mrs. Whoopser, and welcome to the Recorder Survival Guide for Grown-ups. First off, I'd just like to say thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I hope it's going to be beneficial for both you and your student. Now, we know that having a recorder come into your home is maybe not something you're super excited about, and that's okay. This video is designed to help make having a recorder in your house as easy and painless as possible. This video is going to be split into 4 different sections. The first section is where to have your student practice so that you don't have to hear it all the time. Section 2 is going to focus on ways you can help them if they're sounding a little extra squeaky or not their best. Section 3 is going to be about how to clean the recorder, so that's short, simple, and easy. And Section 4 is going to be the basics of reading music so you can answer any questions that your student might ask you. All right, welcome to Section 1, where to have your student practice and how not to hear it all of the time. So your student is probably going to be pretty excited about bringing home a recorder and want to show you everything immediately. And that's a lot for you. So the best way to handle this is to find a quiet place for them to practice, whether that be their bedroom with the door closed, a closet with the door closed, the basement with the door closed, the garage with the door closed. Keyword here is with the door closed for all of this. It's going to be easiest for everyone if they have a place to practice where they're not easily heard, especially at first. When it comes to them wanting to show you things, the best way to handle this is to tell them, is it ready for your teacher to hear yet? If the answer is no, then tell them to go practice a little bit more, and then you'll be happy to hear it when it's ready for the teacher to hear it. That means they've gone through my practice videos, the lesson videos, or the play-along videos. Once they're able to play it with a play-along video, it's ready for me to hear it, and it's ready for you to hear it. If it's not ready for that, tell them, not time yet. That's going to make it easiest for you to hear, because you don't want to hear hot cross buns 4,000 times. I get it. I don't want to hear it 4,000 times either, and I love the recorder. So have them take their time and practice before they show you what they've learned. All right, for Section 2, we are going to talk about how to help your student if they're sounding squeaky or not getting a good sound out. So 99% of the time, if your student sounds squeaky, that means they have some leaky fingers. So I'm going to show you what that looks like and how you can help them fix it. So first off, this is our recorder. We always play with our left hand on top and our right hand on the bottom. When we set up to play, our right thumb goes on the fuzzy dot that's on the back of the recorder. They'll know about that from class with us. And the left thumb is going to go on the open hole on the back of the top. Then our fingers can cover holes as needed. There's different fingers that cover for different notes, and those are all going to be taught in class and in our lesson videos. But most of the time when we have a bad sound, it means that a hole is not covered completely, or what we like to say is they have leaky fingers. So let me kind of show you what that sounds like so you can hear it. This is not going to be pretty, so be forewarned. Something like that doesn't sound very pretty, and that was a leaky finger. So what I did there to make that happen so that you could hear it is my second finger was not completely covering the second hole. If it's not covering completely and not locked down, you're going to hear the air squeak around it, and that's what's going to create that icky, overblown sound. So make sure if they're sounding squeaky, step 1 is to check fingers. Are they fully covering? So when we cover, we want to use our fingerprints, not our fingertips. So you want to use the fleshier, fatter part of your finger that has your fingerprint on it. So a little bit flatter fingers than super curved. So when they're playing, if they're not pressing down firmly and making sure they can feel the hole, they could be getting an air leak without you actually being able to see it. So if they're playing a note and it sounds squeaky, you can always take your hand and press down the fingers to make sure that they're covering fully. So they play something like this, and that's not leaky. Okay? If they're playing other ones, you can hold on other fingers as needed. The more fingers they add, the more likely we are to start getting some squeaks. So it tends to be when we get to G that we start to hear the most squeaks from kids. And this finger, your ring finger, is one of your weaker fingers. So this one tends to be a problem for leaking. Some kids also have trouble with the thumb leaking a little bit. Again, just check them if they're squeaking. It's a 99% chance that it's leaky fingers. If it's not leaky fingers, which is a rare case, it is possible that they're just blowing too hard. The recorder is a teeny tiny instrument and it does not take a lot of air to make a sound. So we always tell them gentle air, like you're trying to fog up a window, or maybe make a flame dance on a candle without blowing it out. So if they're blowing too hard, you're going to get a really gross sound like this. Again, this is going to sound bad, just be warned. We don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. So remind them gentle air is going to help you make your best sound. So it should be like this. Almost like you're playing for a baby and you don't want to wake them up. So gentle air or leaky fingers tend to be the biggest causes of squeaky sounds that just don't sound great. From there, you can feel free to reach out or message us and let us know what's going on, and we're happy to problem solve with you via Class Dojo, or we can even do like a Google Meet to help out as well. Hope this helped you help your student. Section 3 is all about cleaning the recorder. This should be a quick and easy section. So you don't need to clean the recorder every day. That's completely unnecessary. We tell students to clean their recorders, especially if they've gotten sick. Once they're over a cold, it needs to be cleaned because you don't want to get sick again. So the way to clean a recorder is really simple. You're just going to take it over to your sink and turn on the warm water, and you're going to clean it with soap and water. You can take it apart to do this. You just take the top off from the bottom. If they have their neck strap on, this slides off. If they have it up there like I do, it just takes 2 hands, comes right off like this. You can wash it with soap and water. You can wash both parts that way, especially focus on the part that is slightly in their mouth up here. Soap and water, then let it dry fully before you put it back in the case. You don't want to have any like icky mold growing or anything. So again, soap and hot water, and then leave it out to dry, put it back in the case. I have heard people say that they have washed them in the top rack of their dishwasher. I have never personally tried that. I'm a little afraid I might melt one, but I have heard that works, so proceed with caution if you try that route. And that is how to clean the recorder. Section 4. In this section, I'm going to teach you the basics of how to read music. So if your student asks you a question about something in their music, you can help them a little bit. So first thing we're going to learn is the note names in our staff. So these are how we know what note to play on our recorder. So to start with, our space notes spell out the word face. It starts at the bottom and works its way up. So F, A, C, E. We have a little saying for the kids, and it goes, if the note is in a space, you can punch it in the face. And then they punch it out, F, A, C, E. And that helps them remember it. So it's a really silly little song, but definitely helps get it in your brain. So again, space notes are F, A, C, and E. For our line notes, we use a saying to remember them called every good boy does fine. There are lots of other sayings out there like every good boy deserves fudge and many more. It doesn't matter which phrase you use. This is just the one we use to help. But basically what that tells us is that our line notes are E, G, B, D, F, the first letter of each of those words. So we have a little song for that one too, and it goes, if the note is on a line, every good boy does fine. Every good boy does fine. And they punch that one out to help them remember where they go as well. So line notes are E, G, B, D, F, or every good boy does fine. The last notes that we expect the students to know are just below the staff or just above the staff. So there are 2 notes that we want them to know underneath the staff, and that is D and C. And we tell the kids the music staff is kind of like a fence, so they want to climb up it always. That's why all of our things go up. But underneath the staff, there is an animal digging under the staff, and that is the dog for letter D. The dog is chasing the cat, that's letter C, and the cat has little whiskers. The little whisker there is actually called a ledger line, and they've learned that as well, but it's a nice, easy way to remember it. So the dog is chasing the cat. Then above the staff, or above the fence in this situation, we have the letter G. We call that the giant gorilla. The giant gorilla is reaching over the staff to reach for an apple, the letter A, and the ledger line there is the branch that the apple is on. So the giant gorilla reaches for the apple. Those are our notes above the staff. The last thing you may need to know to help your student is our note values. So if we start at the top there in the pink, we have a whole note, and a whole note gets 4 long beats of sound. So for example, if our steady beat was 1, 2, 3, 4, this is what our whole note would sound like. And the whole rest, which is also in the pink there, would get 4 beats of silence. So you would just count 1, 2, 3, 4. Below that in orange, we have our dotted half note that gets 3 beats of sound, and the dotted half rest also gets 3 beats, but of silence this time. Our half note, which your students may call 2, that gets 2 beats of sound, and the half rest gets 2 beats of silence. A quarter note, which your students call ta, gets 1 beat of sound, and a quarter rest, which your students may call sh, that gets 1 beat of silence. Now, eighth notes are where it gets a little tricky, but not really. So for our eighth notes, when we have them beamed together, like in the picture there in the blue, that gets 1 beat. So there's 2 sounds in 1 beat. If we only have 1 eighth note, it gets half of a beat. Now you'll see the picture of the rest there. They showed 2 eighth rests because that would take up 1 beat. If we just had one of those eighth rests, it would be a half of a beat. And below that in the purple color, we have 16th notes, which your students may call tika tika. And those all together, when you have 4 of them, they get 1 beat. Individually though, if you had just a single piece of that, it would get a quarter of a beat or 1/4 of a beat. Our 16th rests, as you can see over there, all 4 of them together would be 1 beat, but if we just had one of them, it would be a quarter beat or 1/4 of a beat. And that's the basics of our note values. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video and for supporting your student through their journey learning Recorder. We know that Recorder is not always everyone's favorite thing to be brought home with their student, but it teaches so many valuable skills. Not only is the Recorder a wonderful and affordable beginning instrument to learn that can help your student learn and reinforce skills they'll use in middle school and high school music classes, it's also wonderful for strengthening and reinforcing fine motor skills and hand-eye coordination. It also helps with your students' reading skills because learning to read music is like learning to read another language. One of my favorite parts of teaching Recorder is watching students learn how to learn something new, to approach something step by step that they've never done before, and to learn to be successful. I also love watching students figure out how to make good mistakes and to learn from those mistakes. It is such a valuable life lesson for kids to learn, and they're able to learn it through the Recorder. So thank you again for your support in your student learning the Recorder.